All right, so let's start by looking at the initial owners of the land and recognising leaders past and present and future. All right, so Fleming Park, this is a project which really, I think, a really humble project, and really at its time. It's about a park which was originally a quarry in Brunswick, a very deep quarry for a long time, but forgotten piece of real estate really, and then it was converted to a park. That's the zone there. So it's a large, it's more a series of interventions than a single intervention. Here is the original site. There's a series of hodgepodge buildings all around the corner, all around the site, which were added in the 70s, 60s, and earlier than that, heritage buildings, etc. And this is it during demolition. I'll come back to the finished intervention. So to brief, the existing facilities had heritage buildings, bocce, bowling, lacrosse, band, elderly citizens club, playgrounds, etc., etc. And the brief came to us from Mary Beck with 80 interventions, all little small things, which they wanted to do for 10 years. And said, this is really crazy, let's try and do something which is a little bit more meaningful. We spent a lot of time convincing them that let's consolidate into a large intervention itself. So among other things, there was a heritage grandstand, which the community much loved, but it was boarded up, and there was a series of other spaces which are pretty well unused, inaccessible. So we did a lot of studies about relocating, consolidating into one site, also optimising views, and among other things, really completely put new DDA compliant parks all the way through. That will alone increase accessibility throughout the whole space. So to identify a massive gum tree which they had said we can knock down, we said we're certainly not going to do that, and we built a project around that at the grandstand. So the idea was to try and have an intervention with a couple of new builds and restoration of existing heritage buildings as well. Went through an extensive community consultation process, both with Indigenous groups and all the supporting groups and local communities. And they loved the park, but we didn't quite know as well as it could. So we looked at restoring the grandstand for starters, and then separating the playground, the bicycle paths, and really just making the space usable. So the renders, the original grandstand when we came on board was boarded up, hadn't been used for 30 years, football moved to another ground. They had a vote within the community, they wanted to keep this space, and they weren't quite sure what to do. So we worked with Local Chen, and we restored the building. We pulled it back to where its original pieces were, we found the original signage, and then we rebuilt this space as a community asset, which is much used again by people who watch the game, watch their goals, and watch their kids play. And then in addition, there was a series of weird add-ons all over the place, which had been built by the council themselves, which are in a pretty run-down average basis. So, and the heritage hall at the rear. So what we tried to do was to consolidate this into a community asset, build it around the tree itself, and then create, there was 5 different uses: the bocce club, the bowling club, the band room, and a heritage building, trying to consolidate that plug it into this zone, and then really have a fairly efficient space which could manage to serve the community in a much more appropriate way. So reduce the amount of car parking, left there considerably, put in a community basketball court, water centre design throughout, community garden, improve the band room. The bocce club now has access to facilities as the bowling club. So as a hub itself, really has revitalised it in a pretty run-down space. So the DDA ramp, we also convinced them it was a good idea to make some grandstand and the grandstand, so we put a seat on the side as well. And here's the space being utilised on the weekend. People enjoying it. Used back across the deck and the tree onto the oval of the cross-club permanent residence. There's change rooms for underage sports. And then there's a community room, which is a timber structure facing onto the park. The community can use it. It has its own little kitchenette and a little cafe again. So these sporting clubs previously had nowhere to operate. There's the old hall, which again was boarded up. We basically built it, new floors, air conditioning, DDA toilets. And again, that's an asset that spreads between the bowling club and the bocce club and backs onto our new building as well. That's the hall, which again we rebuilt the ceilings, and then we put this new the veranda here on the outside of the community building itself. The band room, they were kept all of their equipment, which we refocused into space for them, which unfortunately we weren't photo for. And then we created a series of playgrounds and seats, and really just sort of make the space work. The bikes used to run through the middle of the playground, separate in those days as well. That's adjacent to the grandstand itself. You see the band here on the weekend. That's the part we used. There's community space. Again, you can hire that for any activity. The Cross Club uses it. Sporting facilities use it as well. It's a very humble project, but I think as an overall, it's of its time. It's revitalising the existing structures. Really kind of work with series of drawings. It's really good seeing it.
Thanks very much. You're ahead of time. That was the 6. That was the 2-minute warning.
Oh,
so
we should have.
I wanted you to talk to the plan arrangement.
First time internship when I 6 years.
Okay, let me go.
Who's coming to the question?
I can waste 2 minutes and a half now.
Okay, well, I'm going to go back to the original era photos. Like it says Brave, but I've now sort of managed to lose everything.
Well, we can ask our questions as well. Have slightly longer question time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this master plan seemed insane at the beginning. Was it to convince council to do this as sort of an amalgamated part of work that
was hard work.
They
They originally had this is literally it. 200 blocks, they were like, fix this, fix the crack, and you want what we get. We said we're going to truly insane. Then they said the budget, they wanted us to build in 2 halves, which they wanted, it's more expensive. So this honestly was a huge process, but I think the end result is worth it. It's worth it, I believe, can add value to the local government. And of course, it was hard work.
This feels very much the result of community engagement.
It was.
Everybody's saying the particular thing they want to fix.
There was community engagement, and then that's kind of what we kind of did to sort of bring this together. You sort of see here, the original car park, for example, on the left, there's a lot of asphalt. There's a little that weird hole in the left corner which fell down. None of the parts met code, so then we kind of reduced the amount of asphalt, put in community spaces, gardens. You can see how we're plugged onto the existing buildings, and it really has made the whole place home.